to change. Memories of your prime make life seem so strange.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to the first book review by yours truly, Sigmund Jones and Aizen Sama. First and foremost, we just want to give a shout out to the subscribers out there. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning in. We truly appreciate the love and support. Hope you guys are doing well out there. This is the first ever book review I've done on this channel, and I think it's going to be a pretty good one, especially with this particular topic. The book for this review is posted in the chat. It's called The Basic Law of Human Stupidity. You can find this on Amazon.com. Very good read. I have to give a shout out to Aizen Sama because he referred me to this book while I was on my vacation last month, and it was so good I had to simply do a review about this. But before we get started, let me first introduce the co-host for tonight, Mr. Aizen Sama, and I only know the best way to introduce him by giving this intro.
All creatures need to obey. No one can survive without trusting someone they feel is better, more worthy than themselves. To avoid that responsibility, those who are worthy look even higher, searching for more superior beings. And those superiors do the same, looking for even stronger individuals they can believe in. That is how all kings are created. It is also how gods are born.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the one and only Aizen Sama. Good sir, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fairly well tonight, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. Not too bad. Like I told the audience, you was the first to introduce me to this book on last month, and I have to say, as soon as I read the introduction, I was like, Aizen Sama is a madman.
Yes, that the introduction is, I mean, that tongue-in-cheek humor in it. It's perfect. It just goes along. And the tongue-in-cheek humor throughout the entire book is pretty awesome. I like to kind of guess try and do some of the same thing with the content I do, but I think this book and the laws of it goes perfectly with a lot of the content you do here and with on the World War II room as well.
Bro, you just hit it right on the nail because not many people like to study human behavior or just even be an observant of human behavior. And when you read this book, it's almost like it takes you to another depths of how people interact. Like, I thought I had a good understanding of human interactions and why people would do certain things, but I have to be honest, after reading this book, it definitely has changed my perspective in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I gotta admit it does change your perspective. You you really when it really puts in perspective of what defines the actual stupid individual. Um, it's sort of amazing, and and how he puts it into words, on in this short essay style form. It's masterful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And shout out to Lawrence Guy in the chat. Good to see you, sir. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, chapter one starts off by talking about the first basic law. And it's actually pretty simple. The first basic law says this: always and inevitably, everyone underestimates the number of stupid individuals in circulation. So, to kind of summarize what the authors talk about in this first chapter in regards to the first basic law, whenever you think you can give an estimate of the number of stupid people around you, you will always be underestimating because there's no quantitative number that would signify this is the amount of stupid people in any given moment in time.
Right. Yeah, it was that was so profound there to see that and put that in there, and it was it's so telling, especially whenever you get to the later laws of why you can't put an actual percentage on it, because as soon as you think you figured out that percentage, you find out no, you've got to add some more people to go in there.
Right. Exactly. And that actually leads to chapter two, which talks about the second law.
Oh,
And the second law is quote as saying, the probability that a certain person be stupid is independent of any other characteristic of that person. So essentially, what that law is saying, and shout out to JJ Wilson, is that a person being stupid has nothing to do with their genetics, has nothing to do with their intelligence, has nothing to do with any sort of circumstances that are going on, far as like their background. Any given
gender.
person, or gender, that any given person can have a trait of stupidity at any given time.
Right. Yeah. That was a very telling. That was, yeah. That one it cleared up that too. No matter what your education level is, um, what credentials you have, good or bad. Yeah, it did not matter, and that law is ironclad, and there were no exceptions to it. That
It,
was
it oh no, go right ahead.
I was just gonna say that was the awesome part. But I think we doing the people disservice by leaving out the introduction, because I think that introduction was just so awesome, man.
Not a problem. I'll definitely go ahead and read it because it's pretty short. So the introduction says this, and I'll use my normal voice. Human affairs are admittedly in a deplorable state. This, however, is no novelty. As far back as we can see, human affairs have always been in a deplorable state. The heavy load of troubles and miseries that human beings have to bear as individuals, as well as members of organized society, is basically a byproduct of the most improbable, and I would dare say stupid, way in which life was set up in its very inception. After Darwin, we know that we share our origin with the lower members of the animal kingdom, and worms, as well as elephants, have to bear their daily share of trials, predicaments, and ordeals. Human beings, however, are privileged in so far as they have to bear an extra load, an extra dose of tribulations, originated daily by a group of people within the human race itself. This group is much more powerful than the mafia, or the military industrial complex, or international communism. It is an unorganized, unchartered group which has no chief, no president, no bylaws, and yet manages to operate in perfect unison, as if guided by an invisible hand, in such a way that the activity of each member powerfully contributes to strengthen and amplify the effectiveness of the activity of all other members. The nature, character, and behavior of the members of this group are the subject of the following pages. Let me point out at this juncture that most empathetically, this little book is neither a product of cynicism nor an exercise in defeatism, no more than a book on microbiology. The following pages are, in fact, the result of a constructive effort to detect, know, and thus possibly neutralize one of the most powerful dark forces which hinder the growth of human welfare and happiness.
Mm. Man, that introduction right there was so powerful, Sigma. Um, but I got to point out here before you go on that even though you call me the Dark Lord, I am in no way, shape, or form connected to this powerful dark force that hinders the growth of human welfare and happiness. You may carry on.
So you pretty much putting out on the table, hey, I may be the Dark Lord, but this is a much deeper pit of hell that I have no control over.
Yeah, I am not associated with it whatsoever, sir.
Hey, I am with you on that. I'll tell anybody going forward, this is just our opinion. This is a book review. We just highly encourage anybody out there that's interested, just get the book for yourself, but be forewarned. You will be looking at other folks very, very differently.
Yes, you will. A lot of people.
All right. So back to chapter 2, where it talks about the second law. So again, as we pointed out earlier, that stupidity is something that you can't say, oh, because he has this certain gene or she has this certain background, they're doomed to be stupid. And what the second law is stating that no, no, no. It doesn't matter what background you come from, what ethnicity, what education, or whatever. Any given person can be considered stupid at any given time.
Correct. Uh, and he also in here, I believe this is the law also where he stated that it is due to nature, not nurture. That people are stupid. This is nature.
Right. That's what gets me to. It's like, you hear the scientific method of nature versus nurture. And for most people, they would think that, if a person, is not of the intellect or whatnot, then it has to be the environment's nurture. No. This author is saying all stupidity in its whatever form is by nature. Because humans are prone to stupidity. And later on, we're going to show a chart that will kind of help validate exactly the second basic law.
Yes, yes. There's a chart and everything to classify who falls into what category. It's brilliant.
All right. So we actually go to the next chapter, chapter 3, which is the technical interlude. And this is where it introduces the chart. And thankfully, I was able to find this chart. So let me go ahead and pull this up here. All right. So this is the basic chart of showing human intelligence. And Enigma, thanks for sharing the stream. So what this chart is showing, if we could bypass the diagonal line that's showing towards kind of going across the chart, there's really only 4 sections to base human intelligence, and in this case, human stupidity. So the x-axis is based off of what occurs to oneself, whereas the y-axis is based upon what occurs to anybody around you, or people around you, or even a person around you. So in the first cube, intelligence is based on the fact of, okay, you're doing something that's benefiting yourself while at the same time it's also benefiting people around you. This will put you in the category of intelligence. And then in the second quadrant, naive, or in the book it's called helpless, this shows that whatever you're doing for yourself is damaging and it is causing harm to yourself. But at the same time, the damage you're doing to yourself still benefits the people around you. Therefore, you're classified as naive or helpless. Then we get to the third quadrant, stupidity. This one's pretty obvious. You're doing damages to yourself, but now you're also doing damage to people around you. Nobody's benefiting whatsoever. Therefore, you're now classified as the stupid. And then the last quadrant, which is the bandit, this one is interesting because a bandit in the book, in the third chapter, defines a person who will purposely do something that to them is beneficial, but to other individuals is harmful. Therefore, if you are doing something that's in your mind good to you and you're actually benefiting from it, but at the same time is causing harm to others around you, you fall under the classification of bandit. Now, later on, we're going to show why this diagonal line is going across this chart, which gets even more interesting. But before we do, good sir, Isaac, what's your thoughts on this chart?
Oh man, I mean, when you just read on the chart, and you see the 4 quadrants of intelligent, naive or helpless, stupid, and bandit, and when you look out in the world around you, it becomes obvious which one there's a plethora of people in, and it's the stupid quadrant.
Right.
There's so many that go in there, and like the first law states, you can't even quantify the exact number of people.
Nope, no
Because
finite number.
yes, you can't do it. You can't do it because just when you think there's you get to maybe to a different room, a different classification, you find out that those people, there's plenty of stupid people in that room too.
Right. And so for the audience looking at the chart, if you think about it, quadrant 3 for stupidity will always have an infinite number of people that fall in that category compared to those that are naive, those that are intelligent, and even those that are bandit. All of those three quadrants combined will never have the same or more people than quadrant 3 for stupidity.
Yeah. Can't agree with that one more.
All right. So that is chapter 3. Chapter 4 goes on and it talks about the third and golden basic law. Now, this one I definitely find intriguing. But
Yes.
the third basic law, and it's considered the golden law, states this: a stupid person is a person who causes losses to another person or to a group of persons while himself deriving no gain and even possibly incurring losses. So it pretty much reiterates what we just talked about with the quadrants in the chart. But again, is essentially pointing out that a person who does nothing, whatever action they do is not beneficial to them, but is also damaging to everyone else around them, they will be classified as the stupid type.
Yeah. And what's also what was also interesting about this uh, golden law was that when he said, when confronted for the first time with the third basic law, rational people will instinctively react with feelings of skepticism and incredulousness. The fact is because reasonable people have difficulty conceiving and understanding unreasonable behavior.
Right. And believe me, we've all been there. We've all been there where somebody is doing something that we know is not beneficial to them, but then when they try to get you involved, you're just like, why me?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you want to? What makes you want to choose me out for your shenanigans? And again, like you just pointed out, a rational person will try to logically rationalize why they were chosen by this person to be part of this stupid act. And again, we're going to brush on this later on, but you can't use logic when dealing with a person of the stupid category.
Right. And you can't use it. I mean, there's no way. Yeah, you just can't. And the thing is too that when you have some people that are just supremely or perfectly stupid. I believe is what he put in here. That they'll take on acts and do things that not only do they hurt the world around them, but it hurts themselves too. So
Right.
it's a total loss for everyone.
Right. Well, I like the fact that the author, to end the chapter, he says, nobody knows, understands, or can possibly explain why that preposterous creature does what he does. In fact, there is no explanation. Or better, there is only one explanation. The person in question is just simply stupid.
Yeah. No better way to simplify it.
All right. So next, chapter 5, which this one I find interesting, actually talks about the frequency of distribution in regards to the chart. And so now we start to see why there's a diagonal going through the chart. And I'll actually bring it back up again. But essentially, what we're seeing is he starts to talk about the third quadrant, which is the bandit. And what's going on is that in the third quadrant, if you was to break it in half, you would have two sections in the fourth quadrant, excuse me. And that is you would have Bandit S, which would be leaning towards stupidity, and then you will also have Bandit I, which would lean a little bit towards intelligence. So what the author is stating is that when a bandit is doing something that benefits him, but he stays zero as far as like not going towards the bottom of the y-axis or towards the negative y-axis, then he would lean towards being an intelligent bandit. And a perfect example would be, say, if a bandit only needs, say, $100, but he robs you of $1,000. Well, as long as you are still alive, then he would be considered an intelligent bandit. Why? Because he gained more than what he actually needed, despite the fact that you have lost something in return. But it would still be considered an intelligent bandit. However, those who fall under BS, this would be an individual who, say, they kill somebody and robs them of their sneakers. Well, this would be considered now a stupid bandit because now there's not only a loss of value and material, there's also now a human life that's lost. And so, usually in that category, a person has done tremendous damage that cannot be quantified. So, therefore, they would be considered a stupid bandit. But Isaac, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I, I I couldn't help it but laugh when you said the BS, the B on the BS axis there. Oh, that was too funny. But but yes, the stupid bandit. You know, we see some of these. We but because they get a gain, but the loss that the other individual receives is extreme. It's more extreme than the gain that they got.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is we You see very few of the more intelligent bandits. Even though you do have them, but you see very less of them. Um, Most people, they do fall more towards the BS uh, triangle. But
Right.
that's all I got for that one.
But and the thing to keep in mind, there will always be more people in the third quadrant than any other quadrant. So even in this case,
Mhm.
unfortunately, there will be more of the BS category than the BI. And so, like you said, the ones who fall in the category of BI are far and few. Um, Most of the time, unfortunately, especially in certain demographics, but most
Yeah.
people fall in the BS category.
Yes.
All right. So next we get to chapter 4. And this is the chapter that I could say really really got me thinking. And I think Aizen, this is also the chapter that you would probably say kind of correlates with what we talk about in the war room
Yes.
with being Logic's finest. Chapter 4 is stupidity and power. And what this chapter talks about is that you will actually find more people, as far as in the stupid category, in position of power than you would find intelligent people in position of power.
Yes. Yes. You find many of them. Golly.
Now, I like this. I like this question that the author asked in this chapter. So He asks here the question that reasonable people often raise is how and why stupid people can reach positions of power and consequence. And then he goes on to say, class and caste were the social arrangement which favored the steady supply of stupid people to positions of power in most societies of the pre industrial world. Religion was another contributing factor. In the modern industrial world, class and caste are banished both as words and as concepts, and their religion fading away. But in lieu of class and caste, we now have political parties and bureaucracy. Within and in lieu of religion, we have democracy. Then he goes on to say, within a democratic system, general elections are a most effective instrument to ensure the steady maintenance of fraction O being the infinite number of stupid people at any given time, among the powerful.
Yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah, this goes right with the material that you and Logic's finest do in the World War II room, because it's just going on to state that stupid people get stupid leaders.
Right.
they they get other stupid people in positions of power. They vote for it. By it's funny because now it's going in line with the introduction that you had for me.
Right. Right.
With how people need someone to believe in, how they need someone to serve, and so they choose another stupid individual to serve.
Right. And then that stupid person in power seeks out somebody who's even more stupid or in a more powerful position than they are.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. To me, that chapter, anybody who reads that should get a rude awakening of this is why you should never take politics and religion seriously. Like, I'll tell anybody, I am a spiritual person. I believe in a higher being. And I definitely try to live a life of not bringing harm to others and being, a good steward in all of my doings. But I do not have any association with the religions of today. And don't even get me started on the political stuff as well.
Yeah. And I think what was also the other interesting point he brought out in this particular chapter was when he said one has to keep in mind that according to the second basic law, the fraction O of the voting population, which is the fraction, the incalculable number of stupid people in question of the voting population are stupid people, and
Hmm.
elections offer to all of them at once a magnificent opportunity to harm everybody else without gaining anything from their action.
Wow. Wow.
Therefore, they end up adding more to the stupid pool.
Oh my goodness. This is why I'm sorry, but I don't care what side you lean on, especially here in American politics. If you take any side seriously, I'm just going to be honest. You have to join the fools, the group of fools, because you are essentially voting in groups of people who have this much authority over you, but their intelligence and in some cases their cognitive level is no better than a turtle.
Oh man. Yeah.
But you gotta vote because your vote counts. But in what degree?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get you have to, but golly, yeah, the the percentage of stupid people voting is so high that it just yeah, you don't know what your vote is actually gonna do. Golly, boy.
Right. So for those listening in, just keep that in mind with this year's election in 2024. Because you're going to see some campaigns that is going to be tugging at your heartstrings. But just ask yourself this question: is this person really this dumb? Most likely, 9 out of 10, they really are. And that's who people are voting into these position of powers.
Yeah, yeah. You also have to ask, how dumb are the people following this person?
Right, right. Which also ties into the church aspect. I mean, let's just be honest. It is a pretty good position, especially from a wealth standpoint, to be a pastor or a bishop. And all he does is just go to the pulpit and be like, the Lord told me this about you. And people will literally take it word for word.
Or or better yet, to just sprinkle enough of false, foolish hope in their lives that they can just wish upon a star, and everything will be better, and their circumstances will change while they actually keep the same. But
Well, wait. It sounds like, Isaac, you talking about wishing upon the genie in the sky?
yes, because that's exactly how people this is exactly how people treat their deities. They're nothing more than a genie to wish upon for better circumstances without actually changing themselves, which that's why I say people don't really change.
Mm-mm.
It's only death that changes anything. It's only when people are faced with their own mortality that they actually want to have a change in their actions.
Right. You're absolutely correct. So next we go to chapter 7. And this goes more in line talking about the power of stupidity. And I want to read this excerpt in this chapter where the author says, essentially, stupid people are dangerous and damaging because reasonable people find it difficult to imagine and understand unreasonable behavior.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking. That got me thinking. Because I've been guilty of this, and I know Aizen in some form or fashion, you've been guilty of this as
We've
well.
all.
Yeah. Where you just stop and think, why did this person, whoever they may be, why would they do, say, or act such a thing? And no matter how much our brain tried to rationalize, it would never get to a concrete conclusion that, oh, this is why that person did what they did. And especially if it's coming from somebody who you may have thought, for some time may be intelligent, but then all of a sudden they just do something just out of whack. And now your brain is trying to like, well, maybe she was just having a bad day. Or, well, maybe, he was just not in his right mind. And like I said, we all been guilty of that. But again, what the author is saying is because intelligent people are not able to rationalize why a stupid person does what they do what they do, that in itself makes a stupid person very dangerous.
Yes. Um, and I think the other aspect to keep in mind with this too is this just goes to show that usually whenever you kind of have these rational thoughts about, well, try to have a rational thought about why an individual would do this, it doesn't seem like they shouldn't be doing something that's stupid. Uh, you and logic scientists have pointed this out on the World War II room before. Educated doesn't mean intelligent.
Nope. Nope.
So usually human beings have a tendency to equate them together, but that that's not the case always. It's actually it's very this book goes on to say, it's very much not so the case.
No. Well, pretty much like we just talked about with the second basic law, it says stupidity is independent of everything else.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you're male or female, doesn't matter if you're black or white, doesn't matter if you're educated or only have the education of a mouse or a rat. Stupidity has no dependent marker. It is
Yeah.
independent of everything.
It doesn't discriminate whatsoever. It welcomes all.
Right. Right. So again, and that's where people fall into this trap, because you will have individuals that will do something that is definitely in question, stupidity or dumb, and you'll have others that will try to rationalize, well, they don't normally do this. They're college educated and they're able to speak and articulate and everything. But again, as history shows time after time, just because you got a piece of paper that says you have graduated with your degree in such and such does not mean you're now classified as intelligent. It never does that. And in fact, it goes in line with the first law, because if you think about it, if you can say that stupidity is only within people who don't have a piece of paper of intelligence, then essentially you're quantifying people of stupidity. But we all know for a fact that is not true, because even people with the education, well, especially in position of power, will still go out and do stupid things. Therefore, it qualifies that first basic law that you can never quantify the amount of stupidity.
Yeah. And there was another part in this chapter here that I thought was completely hilarious, but it was accurate. And it reads as such: because the stupid person's actions do not conform to the rules of rationality, it follows that A, one is generally caught by surprise by the attack.
Yep.
B, even when one becomes aware of the attack, one cannot organize a rational defense because the attack itself lacks any rational structure.
Right. Right. And I can't tell you, when I read that last part B, even I had to say to myself, you know what? There have been times where I thought I knew somebody was about to go down the dumb path, and I thought I would be ready for it. But even then, it's like I'm caught by surprise when they do something that's beyond the level of stupidity that I thought they had.
Yes. Yes. Because like B says, you can't, even when you know that the attack is coming, even if you know it, you can't organize a defense because the attack itself isn't rational in structure whatsoever. I mean, it's it's awesome Um,
So essentially, Isaac, it now this was just my thinking before I started going further into the chapter, but I was thinking, okay, so really the best defense would be to just don't engage. Like, just don't engage with whatever that dumb person is doing. But unfortunately,
yes,
even that doesn't work.
yes, yes, because it also says in there that a stupid creature will harass you for no reason, for no advantage, without any plan or scheme, at the most improbable times and places. So,
Right. So even if you're trying to just, you're trying to just get away from it, you just can never control that stupid person's behavior. Therefore, if you think you're doing the rational thing by removing yourself or getting away, they can still track you down.
yeah, yeah. But that's the best. That's the best defense you got, though.
Right. Sad to say, but that's despite the fact that it's still not effective, it's still the best defense you can do. Out of everything else, you can counterattack or counter move.
Yeah. Oh man.
So the next chapter, chapter 8, talks about the fourth basic law. And it really already ties into what we just talked about. But the fourth basic law, non-stupid people always underestimate the damaging power of stupid individuals. In particular, non-stupid people constantly forget that at all times and places and under any circumstances, to deal and or associate with stupid people infallibly turns out to be a costly mistake. So I think it's pretty in essence of itself that yes, non-stupid folks, no matter if they're bandits, helpless or intelligent, they no matter what circumstances or situations, they will always underestimate the stupid person. Reason being is because all the other quadrants are somewhat coming from a rational point of view. But a third person, the third quadrant, stupidity and dumbness, there is no rationality.
Yes, and also the other part aspect of this to take in to account for is how when you have certain people that want to include everybody, that's what it's warning you against. Look, you cannot include the stupid person. Trying to include them into whatever event or activity is always going to turn out with the worst possible situation.
You know what? Let's read that excerpt because I want the audience to kind of get a clear understanding of what you just said. So this excerpt says, one is tempted to believe that a stupid man will only do harm to himself, but this is confusing stupidity with helplessness. On occasion, one is tempted to associate himself with a stupid individual in order to use him for one's own schemes. Such a maneuver cannot but have disastrous effects because A, it is based on a complete misunderstanding of the essential nature of stupidity, and B, it gives the stupid person added scope for the exercise of his gift. One may hope to outmaneuver the stupid, and up to a point, one may actually do so. But because of the erratic behavior of the stupid, One cannot foresee all the stupid's actions and reactions, and before long, one will be pulverized by the unpredictable moves of the stupid partner.
Right. Right. Man, uh, that B, when it said it gives a stupid person added scope for the exercise of his gifts, which is basically, I just, I, hey, look, the stupid person is Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will.
Right? That's it. But what gets me though, Eisen, is the fact that, and I know for a fact you've heard this too, where you'll have individuals that will associate with a dumber person because, well, we can't just leave them behind. I'm my brother's keeper, and we all got to stick together. And I'm just like, so you're willing to be associated with this person, knowing full well the whole concept of guilty by association will forever tarnish your reputation.
You, hey, just go ahead and lump them in the stupid category too, because
Right.
uh, birds of a feather flock together.
Yep.
Man, look, I'm not trying to flock with stupid people. 'Cause, I don't want to be one of the casualties.
JJ, you
Yes,
JJ.
yes,
Ah,
yeah.
let me read this out loud. There are so many people like this on YouTube. It's just amazing. Using others for shaming, ridiculing, and bullying. And then the karma comes right back at them at the end. Shake my head.
Yeah.
JJ, yeah. You go right ahead, Eisen.
Hey, look. Essentially, it's like hanging out with a thief, and then you get surprised whenever your stuff's gone.
Yep. Yep. And then you instead of blaming yourself, you want to turn around and blame either an outside force or another person for being associated with
With
the
the
dumber
thief.
person.
With the other person, yeah.
Right. Lawrence Guy says, Sigma and Eisen, if people paid attention, the TMH never did say to be your brother's keeper. Cain only asked. There was never an answer.
Yes,
Right,
sir. Yeah,
right.
that's right. The Most High never did.
That's why I get confused when I hear people say, well, you gotta be your brother's keeper. And I'm like, can you tell me where that's written in law? And then they always want to go back to that story, but it's like, but the Most High never said you have to be your brother's keeper.
I don't even let it get there. I don't even let it get there for so-called religious people. When people tell me it's something that I got to do, I say, look, it's only one thing that I have to do.
Right.
I got to leave this world one day. But that's the only thing I got to do.
Right. I mean, to me, it's contradicting when you have Paul himself saying, at the end of the day, save your soul.
Yeah.
So, how can I possibly be saving my soul, but then also being my brother's keeper?
When he ain't trying to save his.
Exactly. Oh boy, yeah, y'all got to get this book. It is truly eye opener. So, chapter 9 talks about the macro analysis and also the fifth basic law. So, The fifth basic law almost reiterates the previous law, fourth law, but it essentially says a stupid person is the most dangerous type of person. Or, in other words, a stupid person is more dangerous than a bandit. So, okay, I know the audience probably saying, okay, how can a stupid person be more dangerous than a bandit? Well, again, kind of goes back to that chart where, and I'll pull it back up, but people forget that when you look at the chart, the bandit is broken in half. And keep in mind, you can never put a quantum number on dumb people, stupid people. So no matter what, in the bandit category, there will always be the stupid bandits more so than the intelligent bandit. But also in this chapter, it then also talks about quadrant 2, where it shows that even in quadrant 2, the naive or the helpless ones, even that's broken up in half. You have the naive that leans a little bit towards intelligence, but you also have the naive that lean towards stupidity. And keeping the first basic law of truth, the stupid naive will always be more than the intelligent naive. Or you could say the stupid helpless, there will be more them than the intelligent helpless. So what is this chapter talking about? Essentially it's saying society as a whole, we make the mistake of trying to say that only a developing society is going to have more issues than a developed society, when in fact it is actually quite the opposite. A developed society is going to have way more issues than a developing society. Why is that? Well, when you take into account, and he actually talks about it here in this chapter. In fact, here's the excerpt. It says, all this suggests some reflection on the performance of societies. According to the second basic law, the fraction of stupid people is a constant O, which is not affected by time, space, race, class, or any other socio-cultural or historical variable. It would be a profound mistake to believe the number of stupid people in a declining society is greater than in a developed society. Both societies are plagued by the same percentage of stupid people. The difference between the two societies is that in a society which is performing poorly, A, the stupid members of society are allowed by the other members to become more active and take more actions. And B, there is a change in the composition of the non-stupid section, which is relative decline of populations of areas I, intelligent, HI, helpless intelligent, and BI, bandit intelligent, and a proportionate increase of the populations in areas S for stupid, HS, helpless stupid, and BS, bandit stupid. So far, Aizen, your thoughts?
Yes. The one thing that came to my mind about all of this in this chapter was the fact that this is, oh my goodness, it's hilarious. The reason why the stupid individual is so much more dangerous than the bandit is because the bandit, you can arrange some type of rational defense against them. The stupid individual, you can't, because nothing about what they're going to do is going to be rational or or trackable. You can't track anything
Right.
because you're rational while what they're doing is irrational. So you're just at a loss, and you just pretty much got to chalk it up to hoping for the best if you're gonna choose to deal with them.
Right. And not only that, what makes the stupid person more dangerous than the bandit, and the author points this out, the bandit, despite him doing something that's negative, he's actually contributing to society.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
transfer of wealth and transfer of benefits. So, despite you, the victim, not getting anything, somebody is still gaining from that transfer.
Yes.
Whereas with a stupid person, nobody gains anything.
Everybody loses.
Right?
And the stupid individual has no care or thought about the order of things in society. None of that matters, man. They don't care.
Right. So when a stupid person is talking about policies or political actions, religious actions, and you do the numbers and realize, wait a minute, not only am I not benefiting, but they're not benefiting as well, you can pretty much guarantee that's a stupid person. And God forbid, if they're in a position of power, they can execute it with with ease.
Oh yeah, it can be executed superbly and for maximum damage.
So the last excerpt of this chapter, the author says he takes a comparison of a country that's moving uphill in society versus a nation that's moving downhill as far as like its deterioration. And he says, in a country which is moving downhill, the fraction of stupid people is still equal to O, which is infinite. Excuse me. However, in the remaining population, one notices among those in power an alarming proliferation of the bandits with overtones of stupidity, and among those not in power, an equally alarming growth in the number of helpless individuals. Such change in the composition of the non stupid population inevitably strengthens the destructive power of the O fraction and makes decline a certainty, and the country goes to hell.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, it's just basically, hey, look, you don't want stupid people in positions of power. When you do, the country, your cities, your towns, your counties, they go to hell. Couldn't have simplified it anymore.
Yep. So I said to myself, Aizen, okay, so the audience is like, okay, how can this be put into practice? Well, I'm glad you asked. So I got some videos that we are going to show in practice where we're going to see, can the audience identify who is what and what category will that person be in regards to the chart. So let me bring up our first subject. All right. So here is our first subject, and we're going to see who's involved, who falls into what category, and I just want to see if the audience can make that distinction. So let's play the first subject.
And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Joe, at this stage, how many do you have left to count?
As I mentioned, we are not prepared to give that number
The
now.
Biden crime family stealing the election. The media's covering up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering up. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's covering up this election. He's stealing it.
Where were we? What was the last question?
And he just casually walks off.
Okay.
All right. So, the person who did the outburst, what category would he fall into? So, Isaac, we'll start with you.
Obviously, this person would fall into the stupid category. I mean, there was no need. But there are others that would also fall in the stupid category. Now, now the man, on the podium, he was the helpless individual,
Right.
in this situation. But oh man, I mean, the camera people would be stupid too for going up, panning over there to him.
Right. Right. Sir, you are accurate, because I would say the same thing. The only person in that clip who I would classify as anything but stupid would be the guy at the podium. But even then, I would probably have to lean him towards the helpless stupidity side. And the reason I'm saying that is he didn't remove himself from the podium. Like, he should have seen, like, okay,
I'm out. I'm done.
right. He should have been like, okay, this person is causing a ruckus. Let me remove myself from the camera. Wait till things settle down, and then I'll get myself back on. So yes, even though he would definitely be classified in the helpless category, I would definitely have him lean towards the stupidity side of helpless. But everybody else, the cameraman and the main guy shouting, all of them in the stupidity quadrant.
Whoever was in charge of this whole thing should be supremely stupid, because there was no security to keep nothing like that from happening.
Right. Right. Because it's like, okay, who was in charge of this? The security, the producer. Just let a random dude just walk by, and then all of a sudden he just has his moment of fame. Like,
yeah.
All right, so that is Exhibit A. So now let us go to Exhibit B. And this one, boy, I'm curious what most folks going to think of this one. So let's get started.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years. COVID.
Okay. So this is a prime example of my opinion. I would put this individual that we just saw, he is definitely in the third quadrant. But now the question becomes, is he part of the helpless stupidity, or is he part of the bandit stupidity? Or is he just strictly in the full dumb category? So Aizen, your thought.
I believe he is in real estate. Um, I would say he's more in the bandit stupidity part. Now, because he does receive, I mean, he made what, millions during that wealth transfer during 2020. So I would put him in the bandit stupidity part on that. Now, the ones who elected thought they was gonna turn out good from this, they are definitely in the complete stupid part. They just in the stupid quadrant period.
Right. Man, Aizen, my save sentiments. Cause I look at the fact of when I hear people complaining about this individual we just saw, I'm thinking to myself, well, yes, he's definitely in the stupid category, but guess what? He's making money off of you guys that voted for him. So he's not completely in the stupidity category, whereas you guys who voted for him, thinking you're going to be getting something out of it, you're strictly in the dumb category.
Yes. Can't agree more with that one. I mean, golly. I mean, if that whole debacle that happened on the Breakfast Club kept him from getting elected, then you almost could kind of go lean more towards the stupid line than the bandit stupid. But he still has made enough, but it's just been stupid enough to keep him from getting that extra, that base salary that presidents get even after that, even after their terms ended. But I mean, hey, he did it, and people still, the stupid individuals just, golly, it's amazing.
Yeah, there is no number to quantify them. So, again, he's definitely in the BS category because his bank account is gaining substantial amount of money on the behest of those who voted him in. Yes. So, which goes back to the fact that, stupid people in position of power are definitely the most dangerous types. But hey, they were voted in.
Yeah. That's what democracy allows for. Stupid people to vote other stupid people in.
Yep. So, like I said, for those who want to get involved in politics and religion, just remember, there are more of the dumber types than they are the intelligent. And you will never be able to put a number on it. Okay. So, Exhibit C. And this one I just find it interesting. So, let us see what we get from this specimen.
The storm, you guys are without power?
But that's God's word. But I would just say that's God's word. God just showing them that he's both. They think they own the word. They don't own themselves. God own them. God can pop their finger. They be dead. But God give them a change. Don't they might change. But they ain't gonna change. They not gonna change. They damn it, but damn.
Do you have anything else about the storm?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just told that's God's word.
That's what we're doing the story on.
Well, yeah, but I was just saying.
I know.
They ain't gonna never change. They ain't not gonna change them, but damn, I just told you.
I know. Well, do you have anything else that we left out about the storm? I know.
The interviewer is stupid.
Yep.
The person being interviewed is helplessly stupid.
Yep.
The interviewer is stupid because you asked the same thing about 4 times.
Right. Right. And this individual who's being interviewed, after the first question that you asked them and they gone left field, I think it's safe to say, okay, probably best either move on to another subject or just call it quits.
Yeah.
Say, sir, thank you for your time. We'll let you know far as, if we put you on TV.
Another interviewer.
Right.
Somebody else to interview. I mean, the only thing he said made sense was, well, they ain't gonna change. That's the only thing gonna change anything. That's the only thing he said made sense.
Right. Now, if he got paid off of this interview, then clearly he would be in the BS category.
Right.
Because, hey, you can hoop and holler all you want, but he actually gained something from that interview.
Well, you know what? He could get into the BS category really off that little 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If he played his cards right and use that interview to put himself on social media and get passive income off of it, that definitely he would definitely be in the BS category because now he's earning something off of his special skills.
Correct. I mean, because it makes me think about years back whenever you had the guy down, I think it was in Atlanta, when they made the whole bed and threw the song off of him, off his whole interview that he did. Right. Man, his face was plastered all over social media. So hey, even though that individual wasn't actually stupid, they'd be the helpless individual in that situation. But it was very entertaining, and they benefited from it. So
yeah. So it remains to be seen if the interviewee actually gains something out of this. But at this moment in time, both him and the interviewer are definitely stuck in the interviewee is in the helpless category, but nonetheless, he is the HS, whereas the interviewer is completely in the stupidity side.
Yes.
All right. The next one, Exhibit D. This one, I want to do an exercise to see, what would you do in this situation? And so this is going to be Exhibit D. And let's see what we got.
Hello, is he gonna say something back? Anything else for you, baby? Got it.
Okay, if the audience hadn't caught that, let me just go back to the beginning so you can see the full context.
Hello, is he gonna say something back? Anything else for you, baby?
Okay. Isaac, your thoughts on this?
She's standing there knocked out. She woke up and had to wipe the drool from her mouth. I'm gonna tell you what I would have done. Man, look, if it wasn't gas and if it wasn't that I needed gas and I got enough to make it to the next one, look, I'm out of there. I'm going to the next, and I don't even want to do nothing. I'm good. Y'all can have this. I'm out. I'm going to the next convenience store. I'm good.
Right. And yes, Ace, she was asleep at the beginning part until the person videoing said something. Yeah. Actually, both of them were asleep.
So out. And the other one was in a daze.
So Isaac, I'm with you. If I'm getting gas or just anything from that convenience store and I'm in a situation where they are asleep and I need to be somewhere, go somewhere, I'll just take my chance to be like, yeah, let me go to the next gas station down the street.
Yeah. And if I can't make it, look, if I can't make it down the street, look, I'm gonna go outside and pay at the pump.
Yeah. So in this case, okay. So this one for me was maybe a little bit tricky, but both the cashiers, I would put them in the helpless category. But even then, yes. And the reason being is because if anybody's in a situation where they need to go elsewhere, but these cashiers are holding them up from having to go where they need to go, then, it's not... Go ahead, Isaac.
I was going to say, the only way I could excuse it, no, I can't even excuse it. I don't even care if it's mid-rank up. I'm out. Look, you're going to have to wipe all that out. Never mind. Go ahead.
Right. Because it's like, okay, these individuals, I mean, you could have easily called out if, so to speak, you don't have enough sleep. You could have easily maybe have another cashier who's fully, in their right mind that can maybe help out.
I think Ace is thinking that the woman who was asleep was a customer. No, that was the employee.
Right.
The employee.
Both of the ladies at the register are cashiers, and they were holding up the line. That's why they were being videotaped. And which then goes back to the person who's videotaping. I'm sorry, but even I would have to put you in the S category because if you got right, you videotaping them is not benefiting you.
No, it's not. Yeah, yes, Ace. Yes, that is even more stupid.
Right. So that's why I was like, yeah, this will be an interesting exercise because it's like, what would you do in this situation? And Aizen and I both came to the same conclusion. We're gone. Like, look, I'm not going to videotape. I may mention in passing, like, you probably need to call it a day or call out for the day. But I'm not going to be wasting time when I need to be going elsewhere and the cashier is having a glitch.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're a radio talk show host personality, you got content, and this is your content for the day where you make money. Yeah, ain't no need to sticking around.
Right. If it's something to where for a fact you are not going to get any benefits by videotaping them, just call it a day. Just be like, I can go to the next gas station down the street, or I'll just pay at the pump.
Correct.
All right. And then last but not least, we have Exhibit E. And this one, definitely, I'm just curious again, what would you do in this situation? So, without further ado,
Give me my cigarette. You gonna go short? My cigarette. My cigarette. Turn, thank you, bro. I bought this shit, nigga. What's wrong with you? I'm OG, nigga. I could have been still, bro. You done failed 2 or 3 times. Bro. Come on, bro. Still, nigga. You said hold on to the porch. Still, bro. Gee, nigga. Stop playing, nigga. I know you can't beat me. Stop playing with me, bro. I know you can't beat me. Okay, nigga. Stop playing with me, nigga. Stop playing, nigga.
Oh, look.
Stop He
doing the race. He doing the race. He doing the race. Every doing the look.
Boy, stop playing with me, nigga. My name is boy. Real nigga. I ain't soft, nigga. I'm not stop. Who going to who? When in my pocket, nigga? I'm not soft. Who? Hands, nigga. Ain't getting no raise, nigga. I got ass too.
Why you trying to turn up on him for? Hey, why you trying to turn up on him for?
Good sir, your thoughts.
Now, I can tell you what, I would have never been there.
Right.
I never would have been in that situation. Yeah, I never would have been there.
Right. Because again, it goes back to the fourth law that says non-stupid people underestimate stupid people.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody there was stupid.
Yes. Every single person, whether you was filming it, whether you was a bystander or the two knuckleheads that got in a fight, in that whole situation, everybody was in the stupid category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only way the one knucklehead could have got out of being a stupid person was, man, look, if he had just went on ahead and laid that crazy fool out from the jump. But like I said, I never would be there. I can already tell them type people that, I wouldn't be hanging around like that.
Right. And like Aizen asked, why didn't a guy just go to the house and chill from there instead of staying outside at close range? Ace, again, that would be the best option of just removing yourself from the situation. But even then, it's still not the most effective in dealing with a stupid person. And the reason I say that is because even if this dude, the guy with the dreads, were to walk away, sad to say, the instigator probably would have still been yapping and following him down the street if he didn't have a car.
He would have jumped on the hood of the car.
Right. And so, okay, somebody would say, why didn't they call the police? Very, very good question. You could call the police and let them handle with the instigator. But even then, it's still not going to
you can tell
handle. Yeah.
Bad idea. Call police too.
Right. So again, the only somewhat rational thing to do would just to leave, whether go somewhere else or get in your car and just leave the area. Even though it may not be the most effective, it's probably your best option at that moment in time. Because again, you will never be able to rationalize why a stupid person do what they do. And like Lawrence just said here, in critical moments, men sometimes see exactly what they wish to see.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. That's what they wanted to see. Yeah. Can't agree more.
And like I said, the bystander and the one who's videotaping, both of them still fall in the stupid category.
Yes.
Because one, is not benefiting you. Two, you actually doing harm to yourself because guilty by association. And then even the person who videotaped it and uploaded, we don't even know if he made money off of it.
True. And also, too, man, look, you have no idea how that could have turned out.
Right.
It could have turned out way worse than that. Dude could have had a knife on him. Miss old boy hit one of them. Yeah. Hey.
Right. I mean, like you said, dude could have had a pistol on him, and as soon as he feels like he being ganged up or he feels like, so to speak, he's losing the battle, he could take that weapon out, and now all of y'all, all of y'all are done for. So, again, the best option in that case would have been just walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away, get in your car, whatever means of leaving the situation. That's really your best option. May not be the most effective, but it's your best option. And then Lawrence says, they are brutal, savage, uncivilized, and illogical. They are in every way examples of Homo sapiens, the very flower of humanity. Hey, back to the introduction.
Yeah.
That is the plight of human beings. The fact that you have to deal with the tribulations of other human beings.
Yeah. And the tribulations of other human stupidity.
Right. So that pretty much concludes the whole book review. So, Aizen, your final thoughts on this?
Oh man, I really enjoyed this. The first time doing something over here on your channel. Well, no, I guess it'd be the second time, but the first time this is the first book review you've had over here. I'd like to see more of these over here, more books to review, and it was fun. It's a very short read. Book read in essay form. I think only about maybe 75 pages long. It's a very good read. Very entertaining, very informative. It gives you a whole new outlook on how you look at people moving forward. I would really pick the book up and give it a chance if you haven't. That's all I have.
Yeah.
And thank you.
No, thank you as well, Aizen. Like I said, as soon as I read this whole book and me and you talked on the back end and gave our thoughts, I was like, you know what? We need to do a book review on this, to give a stream to talk about this and everything, because like you just pointed out, it changed your whole perspective on how you deal with people. And I'm one where I try to live peacefully with folks around me, but there just come a point in time where even when you know somebody's going down that path, it's just best to walk away. Just walk away, remove yourself, and try to limit your interactions as best as possible. You won't be able to do it entirely, unfortunately, but just limit your interactions with these questionable individuals. But this was definitely a good read. And there'll definitely be some more book reviews. But yeah, I think the gist of it all is, hey, you can never put a quantitative number on stupid people around you. And hey, just have to live with them. You can minimize it, but you still have to live with them.
Agreed. Oh, and I'm liking the villains avatars for today. So.
Oh yeah, rightly so. Well, with that said, I am Sigma Jones. This is my co-host Aizen Sama. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time.